IKEA's people and planet positive agenda impacted the company?
I think it impacts in many different ways. First of all, when we launched it in 2012, it was the first, I would say, more business sustainability strategy. We've had strategies and policies since 1980s, but this one was more really written for the non-practitioner. So much more concrete, with clear goals, much more around integration and embedding. So I think from that on, it became much more of, this is something we do as a business because it's the right thing to do. It's about future-proofing the business. It's about cost saving. It's about avoiding future costs. It's about creating new opportunities, avoiding risks. So I think it really became part of how we do business. And it's a key part of the business plan and the strategic landscape of the company. So I think it's if I look at where we were 13 years ago to where we are today, and then knowing that there's so much yet to come, but it is a much more professional sustainability organization, a much more professional organization in general. It's working with sustainability in a completely different way.
And what can businesses learn from IKEA's approach to corporate sustainability?
I think every company needs to go on their journey, because every company is different. You have different culture, values, different business and sector. But I think some universal things is connecting it to who you are. Sustainability is not a side business. It's not a side activity. It's not a do good and feel good activity. It is, those are kind of potential outcomes, but that shouldn't really not be the reason why you do it. It's because you understand the impact you're having on the planet and on people, on society, and you also see how everything going on around us with climate change, inequality, biodiversity loss, you name it, how that will impact you as your company and the future P&L of the company, and using that understanding to really look at what are the material topics for us to address, and really making that plan, daring to set daunting targets, because I think you have to set targets that are reachable, but still reachable with huge effort, because that's what's required. So I think setting those all in or 100% goals, showing to the organization that you cannot opt out, you cannot choose to be the business unit that's not involved. We all need to move. And really engaging leaders, co-workers at every level, and really working with accountability. I mean, there's not a sustainability process in a company unless you are a truly sustainable company where the whole purpose of the company is doing something that has to do with sustainability, which is, not the majority of companies on the planet right now. So you need to integrate sustainability deliverables and tasks into the real estate process, into the commercial process, into the product design process. So it's really about getting it in there in the process.
And how do you define circular economies, and is it a realistic goal?
Depending on how you define it, but I don't really think we have a lot of choice. So it has to be realistic. We need to make it realistic. And again, I think with acting today and testing and learning and starting, we have a fairer chance of achieving it than waiting for some perfect solution that someone will find out. I think that's a key learning when it comes to sustainability, is that there's not one solution. If it's on climate with carbon pricing, or we kind of tend to have this one shiny object that's going to save us all. And it's not going to be like that. So circularity is one methodology that will help us achieve net zero.
What message do you have for businesses and organizations who are not already making sustainable changes?
TikTok. I find it, especially if you are in Northern Europe and in the Western economies, I have full respect that many other countries and many that have been also very hit by COVID, and also still dealing with a lot of poverty, where just putting food on the table and just taking care of the health of your citizens, it maybe feels a bit far off to think about 5 to 10 years down the road with climate change. But we also know that these are the countries and citizens that will be the most negatively impacted by climate change. So I think there's not a lot of choice. And yes, there's still people who are still, talking about climate change not existing, or let's wait and see until we have all the fantastic technology. So there's still that. And it's hard for a lot of sectors. I mean, if you are in a sector that is not fully future-proof, because the product you have built was perfect 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 10 years ago, but we know we need to shift away from coal and fossil fuel. We know we need to shift away from meat. Those are just, it's kind of obvious when you look at science that that's what needs to happen. Of course, it's really, really hard if you built your entire business model and income stream on that. So I have full respect for that. I think as much as we had to innovate as companies now with digital, where customers really shifted very fast during COVID, before COVID, but really peaked with COVID, we see the same. And you don't want to be an incumbent when customers have shifted, because once they've shifted, they will see you as not a great choice. So I really hope that more companies move away from thinking about sustainability as risk, legislation, doing good, charity, but really starting to see these are the framework. The SDGs is the framework. The planetary boundaries is the framework we need to operate in. So it's limitations, but through limitations, you can really inspire ingenuity, entrepreneurship, and start to find solutions. And there are solutions. I think we just need to do them at scale and at speed. And we need to invest more money. There's too much money still going into the old and too little going to the new. But definitely, I really hope that very soon there will be very few companies that are kind of sitting and waiting and thinking that this has to do with someone else and not them, because it has to do with all of us.
Do you have hope for a sustainable future?
I think the honest answer is it depends on the day. The correct, or the more politically correct answer is, I mean, I made it my job. I made it my passion, my profession. And it would be really hard to have done this for 25 years with no hope. So no, I believe in humankind. I've chosen to believe that we can fix this. I mean, this is a human-made problem, despite what some people think and say, but it is a human-made problem. And I think that the way we have built up society with businesses and P&L, organizational structures, hierarchy, tax system, you name it, pension, I mean, all that is a human construct, which means that it's in our reach to also change that. It's different with, the laws of ecology. That's the planet. That's not much for us to fix there or to do there. It's kind of set. But with all the things that have been created by us, we also have it within our reach to change it. So I do believe, and then I do have days when I feel a bit more worried than other days. But I do believe that we have it within our reach. We have the ingenuity. We have definitely the money, if we put our money to it, to do something really good. And I think the key thing, I think we need to change the narrative. And I mean, I've been in this for so long, but that when we talk about saving the planet and saving animals and all these cute teddy bears and polar bears, and which definitely, absolutely we need to do for their own sake. I mean, they have every right to be on the planet. But fundamentally, it's about our life on this planet. I mean, the planet will survive in one shape or another. It's about our life and our here and now, but our kids and our grandkids. It's about, do we want to stay on this planet? So I hope that people realize that, and instead of kind of crashing into the doomsday, everything is over, we can't do anything, to really use that energy and creativity that we do have within us to make a change.